Welcome to the Dog Psychology Podcast with Todd and Art.
All right, we are back with the Dog Psychology Podcast with Todd and Art, and it's just after Thanksgiving. We finally are able to record again. Our schedules are been a little bit messed up, and there was one day I was like, hey, can we record today? Or you actually asked me if we could record. I said, yes. We scheduled a time, and I realized that I actually had something scheduled at that time.
That's
Typical.
so what I would do to you, dude. That's big time.
Oh, man. Luckily, my wife says, hey, by the way, you have an appointment today. I was like, I do, but that's just the way I roll.
If I schedule an appointment in any way, like out of norm, right? Like I schedule a Sunday appointment, I can almost guarantee I'll forget it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm just not doing it anymore. So if all of a sudden I'm scheduled one, like it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Usually I'll look at my schedule like the day before, and I kind of just like, kind of memorize it a little bit, or like, okay, I know I have like 3-4 things, and then I kind of map out where I'm going to be throughout the whole day, because I see things like in patterns, even like phone numbers. That's how I memorize things through patterns. And so I just like, where in Dallas am I going to be? That's kind of how I map out my whole day.
How many appointments a day do you do?
Like 4. Sometimes it depends. Like right now I have a family that I'm working with that has 5 dogs, and I'm doing the immersion where I go in there like Monday through Friday and work with them. But they had gotten a new dog, which I did a board and train on, and then I took the new dog in and introduced the dog to the whole pack because the dogs were getting to fight. And it's going absolutely amazing. It's going really good. Like, they're super happy. And right now we're just kind of managing like the pack dynamics. Actually, I mean, not bad dogs. They're just, one is like anxious and just can't stop barking.
Dude, you can't have 5 dogs and be a normal person. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a different level when you have that many dogs. It's a full-time job, so to speak, especially the dogs that have any issues whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's underrated on what it takes to pull that off.
I mean, we have 7 dogs, and I traveled for Thanksgiving, and, we only took 2 of the dogs, and it was so easy. Oh my gosh, it was so easy. Just even waking up and taking them out, it just felt light, but also kind of empty at the same time. But it just, it was nice.
I remember we had a trainer on the team that didn't have a dog. And I always wondered how that worked out. Like, how can you really give good advice when you don't live in the chaos that our clients live in? You know, I mean, you've had to live it. You've had to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dogs to understand it. And to pull that off without a dog, I always thought was a little weird. It's like you're guessing.
A little suspect.
It's like, I bet this works. I've heard this works. My friends told me this works.
But that I do remember that. I did eventually get a dog. I remember Lynn told me that a long time ago. Maybe you got that from Lynn also, or maybe you just formed your own opinion. But he would always question people who worked professionally and didn't have a dog. It is weird. Like, it's, think about child psychologists that doesn't have children.
Oh, yeah. I had one. I might have mentioned it on here, dude. I always laugh when I get a therapist because I know I'm going to go into some weird little wackadoodle.
Oh, is it the one? That's not it. That one?
Nope. This was some young girl, like 25. And she was she helped parents raise kids. I don't know what title she gave herself, but she said, I help parents raise kids. Didn't have kids. So I was there working with her and her boyfriend, Jack Russell. Aggressive little fucker too. And so when we're in the appointment, like at the beginning of the appointment, we're just talking, and it was like peaches and cream, because on paper, she understood exactly what I was talking about. And then I got out there, and I think I forget what it was. It was some correction. It was a leash correction or a touch. And she just bawled. She just broke down and really, really couldn't take it.
You walked out?
No, I didn't walk out, but I do remember going, how do you work with people and their kids? How do you do that? Like, how are you able to do that and really, to be doing this right now? And I mean, for you to be an expert on raising kids and not have a kid, you've read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, Dog Psychology listeners, Art here. We're going to get back to the show in just a few seconds, but before we do, I wanted to share something with you that I'm really excited about. Now, if you're passionate about understanding your dog on a deeper level, then I have something very special for you. Join the Better Because of My Dog Psychology community, a place where dog owners and professionals alike can come together and grow, learn, and strengthen their bond with their dogs. For just $50 a month, you can get access to over 300 hours of content that I've created, including my Dog Fit Live webinars, exclusive podcast episodes, our entire leash handling course and puppy foundations course that I've created. We also have bi-weekly Zoom calls where I personally help you dive into new topics. We analyze video, I answer questions, we open up for Q&A, and we just give you strategies to improve your relationship with your dog. We have monthly guest speakers, ebooks, early access to hands-on workshop with me, and a vibrant community chat room. You'll never feel alone in your journey to become better because of my dog. And the best part is you can cancel at any time. So if you're ready to join the BBMD dog psychology community, go to the show notes. We're going to have a link down there, or you can also visit skool.com. That's skool.com/BBMD for better because of my dog dog psychology. Again, that's skool.com/BBMD dog psychology.
I remember there was this quote, or it's a video. I'll see if I can find it, send it to you. And it's with David Goggins, and David Goggins is talking how he was asked to speak at this event, and it was about like mental toughness or something like that. And so they brought in this researcher guy who had like written this book on mental toughness, and he was like talking, and David Goggins goes, no disrespect, but this guy doesn't know shit. He's like, unless you've lived it, unless you've gone through it, you can't tell me what it's like. And I remember I sent that same video to Liz Foley one time. This is before Liz Foley had all the followers that she has now. And she was getting hammered online and stuff like that. And I just sent that video. Like,
what was she hammered for?
I don't know. Just internet, man. People being bullies and disagreeing with how she does things. Kind of like luckily for me, I don't have that many followers, so I kind of just, get fly under the radar, so to speak. So it's kind of nice, but. Once you get a lot of eyes on you, there's always going to be someone that disagrees with you.
Tell me about it, dude. It's so what we were saying before we come on here. The one thing I have learned is I've learned how to deal with the comments a lot better, way better. So I kind of have a formula. If you're being a dick or a douchebag or a kook, and I feel like I could say something clever, I will. But if you don't accept comments, I delete you. Like if you're going to throw punches, you got to take punches. So if you say something really stupid like that, but you won't take comments back, I'll delete you. But what I have found is if I'm not rude, but clever, like if I can kind of just do the wording right, everybody joins in. And really, like, I've had people get demolished by saying dumb stuff. And then I'll throw something on it. And it just so happens that if a post goes viral and I get in early comments, everybody goes to the comments. Dude, I have a comment that had like 1,500 likes to somebody being a douchebag in an early viral video one time. So people just go on and like, and then they go in, there'll be like 50 additional comments of people just making fun of them. And I think that's the best way. It's like a pack attack.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't care.
There's also an option. I can't remember what it is. Steve told me about this, that you could, there's an option where you like click on their name and you can minimize them or something like that. And basically, only they can see the comments. No one else can see their comment. You just kind of you don't delete it. It's still there.
Yes. Yeah. I've done that too. There's a couple of people that would pass through me and then go to, and would pass through us.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking
about. Make a point to go in and whatever you put, they would do it. You know who actually I got in a good argument with was some vet. Vet. So I did one. That was the one about the dangly tags. Dude, that one just pissed people off. And this vet said something about, noise doesn't do anything. I go, good thing I don't listen to vets. And then he started going on and on about how much education he had. And he goes, hey, how much education do dog trainers have? I go, I don't know about dog trainers. I go, but I have a college degree. I've got 18 years experience, blah, blah, blah. And then he would keep going back to his experience. I go, dude, all you do is over-vaccinate dogs. I mean, what are you talking about? And this guy just kept going. Like, the fact that he went to vet school made him brilliant. And anyways.
Do you know what they call someone who went to medical school and scored the lowest of their class?
Dentist.
A doctor. You're still a doctor.
You're still a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I heard that one from. It's a good one.
The vets are some of the worst, man. I mean, you saw the post I did the other day about meds. When I do those posts, I'll look at stats, and the stat I looked at is in 2016. 87% of all vets had prescribed meds to the psychotropic meds. That was in 2016. I bet now it's 100%. And I don't know if you saw the post, but remember we did a conversation ago. I think it's almost conspiratorial. Like they had a meeting at the pharmaceutical companies. They sat down and said, how can we sell more drugs? And they said, people are having dogs. If you go back and look at the post, I put up a little thing that shows what the market is. And this is, I went to a finance website, not a pet website, a finance website. And it was like in $30 billion a year. And it's anticipated to be like $70 billion in just a few years. And one of the things, the reasons it gave was increase in zoological diseases, and more people are adopting dogs. So it's not like we think it's happening. They are doing that because people are adopting more dogs. So the pharmaceutical companies are targeting dog owners now. So they're in the vet schools.
Yeah.
And they're making it clear that this is a part of now training protocol is dope. So,
I mean, I think there's a good book that my wife just got. It's called Good Energy. It's by Casey. I can't remember her name. I actually listened to them on Joe Rogan's podcast also, and they talk about the whole. You know, they're doctors, two doctors, talking about how in medical school you're not really taught how to find root causes. You're actually you're just taught to treat the symptoms. You know, and just kind of and not really go down to what's causing it. Just give you some medication to kind of minimize what you're going through, and it's not being cured of anything.
Well, the whole concept of going to the vet now is about what tests and diagnostics they can do. It's like, what can we find? Not what's going on. It's like, what can we find that can be a problem? You know, fortunately, I know my vet well, so I can go in and I don't have that problem, but I had to go use a vet that I don't know. Dude, they took me down the rabbit hole of crap. And I went in and said, hey, man, this is what I think it is. I think it's a broken toe. That's something on the foot. They ended up diagnosing something in the shoulder. What was it? Broken toe. And it took the client going back to a different vet to find it after $1,000 vet visit, by the way. $1,000. And they also really rode me hard because I was running the dog. And it was summer. But I mean, I'm like, dude, what do you think? I run the dog at noon, you dipshit, in the middle of the street on black pavement? And so they were going on about look at these things. If he's running on look at these things in his paws and stuff. Jesus. Yeah, vets are they're tough at times.
Yeah, we're actually going through that right now. We're trying to find a vet that we like. We were using a vet that would come to our house. The only thing is same thing. Like, you know, we don't, our dogs are old. Like, you know, they don't need to be vaccinated all the time. And, you know, and so they are really pushing for that. And so
have you studied any of the vaccinations? I mean, have you really looked at any of it?
As far as the side effects, or?
Well, not just the side effects, but like rabies. I mean, it's been proven time and time again. A rabies vaccine, some dogs can carry a rabies vaccine their whole life.
Yep. And you can get a titer test to prove that, right? And so that's what we're trying to do is get a titer test. I know Hemopet offers them, but you still have to get, you know, blood drawn from a vet. And so, you know, we're trying to get, you know, we actually found a vet that we are trying to get in. It's just hard to get in because, you know,
he's good.
She's good.
She's good.
Yeah. And she's a little homeopathic and things like that. And she's always talking about gut health. And, you know, there's a couple of vets that I follow on social media, like Odette Suter, which I absolutely love. You know, she's talking about, she's known as the poop vet because she takes healthy poop from a dog that has good gut biome, and they put it in a pill. And they can give it to a dog to actually restore the gut biome.
No kidding.
Yeah. They actually sell pills now that you can buy. And you know, it's like 30 pills for $160. It's not cheap.
Right.
But instead of giving your dog a metronidazole, like all these other things, you can give your dog this instead. And it has all the good bacteria in it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'll send it to you. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Maybe we should both, I would think vets would do more titer testing because they're expensive. You know, a titer test is not cheap. And it's funny how much vets protest it. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, why?
Yeah. And my previous vet, I remember one time I'd taken him in, and I just, you know, declined the vaccines. And so I could hear the vet in the back talking, saying, well, if they're not going to vaccinate, then we won't be able to see them. I'm like, okay. Then I actually, after that appointment, I never went back.
Yep.
And I
Fuck you.
really like them, and I really did like them. But when I heard that, I was like, all right, see you later.
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing also, like, it's rare. Like, I know rabies can be a serious thing, but I haven't recalled the animal having rabies also.
We've had it out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one thing. And we actually are dealing with, so if you were to look at my area from above, we're in kind of a rural area, but all the areas around us have been developing really hard in the last years. And what it's doing is it's pushing animals. And so the raccoon population has gotten nuts. And they're starting to find raccoons with distemper and parvo and stuff like that. And they're saying that when all these animals get pushed in, diseases can spread easier. You know, and these dogs get around, or the raccoons get around a lot of cats, get around a lot of dogs. They go in and steal the cat food and stuff. So a lot of, you know, cats can end up in fights with them. We've had a bunch of cats that just hang with them. I mean, a raccoon's kind of like a wicked cat. And they'll just hang with them and let them eat their food. They don't start shit with them. Dogs will have their way with them, but they're always going to get wrecked a little bit when they go at them.
Dude, I just remembered this when you said raccoon. We should actually watch this video too. So a client sent me a video of her dog that was interacting with the raccoon in her backyard and was actually fine with it. And then as soon as she comes out, the woman freaks out. And that's when they started to get into a fight.
Well, a raccoon is a sense, I don't know if they would call it a pack animal, but they live in groups. And I don't know if it has cat DNA to where it's like they'll live in groups. Like a cat will live in social colonies, but they don't have any social, they don't need social to live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a dog's coding comes from the society that it lives in, and a cat's coding comes internal. So I don't know if raccoons are like that or not.
And also, I think the video might be too long for here.
Oh, so you have it?
I have it. Yeah, she said it to me. I'll see if I can find it as we continue on. But, okay. So you ready to watch some videos?
Yeah. So we got some videos for you guys. We've been, doing this for a while. We've got a different types of videos, different things. We're going to break them down. I took a quick look at the one you sent me. I'd like to know the backstory to the one with all those dogs. Because does the guy try to answer it?
Yeah, I guess I didn't read it.
Okay. So let's watch the video first.
Okay.
Because I'd like to know your thoughts on it. I watched it once. I already have my opinion on it.
All right. You want to watch it again?
Yeah.
Short video, but there's a lot to unpack here,
Yeah. Which dog's behavior would you correct?
The one laying down.
The one laying down?
Yeah.
Back to the video. I him.
All right. So the reason why I would pick that one is because that one is the one that's attracting all the energy. It's like the nucleus of everything. You know what I mean? And so once you get that dog moving, and here's the thing: there's the environment. It's a small space with a lot of dogs. So it's really compact. But as long as you get that dog moving, all that wouldn't happen. Like, just get the dog moving. However, there's that black and white pity also.
So to me, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So if you want all of the energy in that group to stop, I would stop the dog on the bottom, and then I would probably side stop the dog on the pity, right? So but if I didn't care that the dog on its back was doing that, I would only stop the pity. So to me, the pity is the one that's the antagonism of this.
And you see the bulldog also correct him too.
Yeah, the bulldog comes in and does that. Now, there's two dogs that are just kind of yelling that. One dog with the long hair in his face, and then I think a beagle. They're just kind of, a black dog. There's like a little insecure barking. But the pity could take that to another level. If the dog on the bottom spiked, the pity would pop, in my opinion. The pity would come in a little harder.
Yeah.
Watch it again.
All right. So you saw right there, you can see where it snapped, corrected the black and white one.
Yeah.
It happens twice, by the way.
Bulldog comes to take care of some business here.
Right there, that does it again.
Yeah.
And Bulldog pushes Bulldog doing Bulldog things, which we're going to watch another Bulldog video in a little.
There's, what's interesting? The Labradoodle or the Golden Doodle.
Yeah.
I never think it's a good idea for dogs to have hair cover their face.
Yeah.
I would
Can't see the eyes. The dogs can't see
I
the
would
eyes.
pull that hair back at the very least, or I would have those owners have to cut it. I don't think that's a wise move. That is not natural hair. No dog is going to have its complete shit covered like that. Can't be seen. Can't be read.
You put a man bun on him.
Totally. That nothing looks manly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, what does it say? Does the guy? Because this guy, not us, but somebody else that we know has broken down one of this guy's videos before, and
Lynn.
he's not good.
Everybody knows who Lynn is. You can say Lynn.
Well, I mean, just saying, yeah. But the guy in that took that video is a little dicey. Because if you don't understand avoidance, like in the video that we watched with that guy before, to the level he does, you just don't understand. You don't understand dog psychology.
Yeah.
At all.
And there's a lot, like, you just watch his content is good in the sense of what not to do a lot of times. But it also breaks down a lot of, like, when you look at things as pressure, like how much he puts on and how much, you know what I mean? Like, he just puts on, like, a lot of pressure without having to be, I mean, he looks like he is forceful too at the same time. But there's just a lot of pressure that he carries. And he just looks like an angry individual. He sounds like... What?
Is he new at training?
I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I don't know. He looks young. He's one of those guys that I feel that kind of talks with a lot of conviction. And so people believe it. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And so, pretty arrogant kid. You know what? We've been around for a long time. I see where these go. So,
well, I mean, I think what's funny is, like, I formulated a post in my head, which is kind of like a making fun of trainers, and it would be like if you were to like a trainer talking to you that's been doing it for 1 to 3 years, right? They're going to be like, "Oh, yeah, that's leadership. That needs to be corrected. Yeah, definitely. That you got to correct that. Correct that. Oh yeah, that's got to be correct, right? Every other thing is going to be corrected, and then." Like your 3 to 5 year trainer, you're like, no, we don't correct. Correction is the way of the wicked, right? And then they totally shift to some fucking existential, right? Where they pull energy from the sun so they can talk to the dog, right? And then somewhere, if they stick with it around the 5 to 7 years where you see them settle down, where you start to see that they realize like most of what they did earlier in their career was not necessary, overdone, too hard. Right. And if they don't find that formula, they burn out. You have to find the formula to stick around longer than 10 years, in my opinion, or you burn out or you're taken out. Like the market takes you out because you can't succeed. And, we have a unique perspective of seeing so many trainers over the years. I mean, we've seen hundreds of trainers and the pattern is very consistent. Like when they come in, like you can talk to them for a couple minutes and go, oh yeah, you're like year 3. You're year 5, you're year 7.
Yeah.
Right. And it's an interesting way.
We've all gone through it.
What's that?
We've all gone through it.
Of course. We've all gone through it. All of us have.
Yeah.
So, so that's a good transition into the video with the mouth.
Yes. I also, by the way, I know that when Lynn was on the podcast, he wanted to talk about like doing what we're doing, like talking about the trainers. And we were like, no, let's not do that. And now here we are, we're doing it. He sent us a text. I mean, you saw that. And he was like, good job, guys. Why does...
Who were we talking about in that one he did that?
I think we were talking about Dog Daddy, maybe.
No. It was the dude who came into the house and he had the taco.
Taco. Yeah.
Taco.
That was
tennis racket.
That was
tennis racket.
Okay, let's see. We're gonna do the mount, right?
Yeah, the mount. Because we're talking about trainers who talk with conviction.
Okay. I did not show my notifications off. I apologize. Do it now.
And I just did. Thought I'd tell you how it happened. If you're not coming out to train your doggos with enthusiasm, if you're not excited, then I don't know why you're doing it. But at the same time, that childlike excitement gets me into trouble. We're playing the ball. He's coming at me with it. I swipe it out of his mouth. Oh, gotcha. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to do that again. So he comes grabs the ball, he comes at me again, and I swipe it, and he's like, no, he clomps down on the ball, and unfortunately he clomped down on my finger. Finger clomped is now a new word, apparently. But yeah, don't lose the enthusiasm, but also don't get carried away with it like I do.
All right, what's your thoughts on it?
So if you want to, I'll tell you what my thoughts are. If you go back and watch the video again, the guy is like trying to handle the dog from wanting to take the toy out of his pocket. So a lot of what looks like affection is he's actually manipulating the dog away. Do you see it?
Right.
So this guy, I've seen a lot of this guy's videos. It looks like a massive following, and he appears to be a really crisp, like, obedience trainer, right? But and this is just me, I understand exactly what he's doing, like in the sense that how something like that could happen. I don't know if it would happen to me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not engaging in a game where a dog has that going on, because I'm going to shape the rules of the game that don't have that as a possibility. So that dog can only be handled by who? Him. Right? Him. Nobody else could play a ball with that dog, because he's connected excitement to positivity, and he's connected intensity to positivity, to something that's good. That wasn't the fact that he would not take that paper towel off his finger means it might not have been a minor bite either.
Yeah.
Right? So
you don't have like is there a video of like the play before?
No, it starts in right there. It just starts in where he's holding his finger and he's talking about like what you see, and that, you know, and I go to the comments and everybody's complimenting this guy for being happy and not being upset with his dog, and the dog not showing. Everybody now is an expert on reading dogs, by the way, since these what's the one video we did? We broke down where everybody consent videos.
Yeah.
Everybody's an expert now at consent and all that. I don't know, man. I it's just not the path I take. So I'm curious on what you think about it. That's the first time you'd seen it, or the second time you'd seen it. What do you think?
I actually didn't finish. I only watched half of it. I didn't get to watch the end. I think what he's saying again, you know, is like when we do this too, like we try to manipulate the play, right? And a lot of times when we manipulate play, because I want to see like how rough sometimes the dogs will get, but you're always trying to be in control. You know, Lynn is always like, you know, taught us like always be in control of these things, right? Don't slip. And it looks like this guy might have slipped, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't see the part because I was just really focused on him. I didn't really see what the dog was doing, which I want to go back and watch it. But it looks like, you know, because he says he swiped it out, and I guess maybe his hand got stuck in there when he tried to wipe it and climb down his hand. I don't really know. You know, that's what he said happened. But it could be also that, you know, the dog could be resource guarding that toy, you know, you've taken it away. I don't know the context, like if this is his dog. But you're right. Like it is. Yeah. And I mean, you, from experience, I mean, if someone else has a Malinois, I mean, you've gone through this, you know, where what's him, Alessandro's dog?
Yeah.
You know, where Alessandro's probably the only person that can handle that Malinois.
No doubt.
Right. And so, I mean, it's the same thing probably with this guy too. You know, he just ended up having to get bit, but I'm going to watch it again because I didn't see what the dog was doing. So I think you pointed out a really good point, which how he's pushing the dog away.
And I just did. Thought I'd tell you how it happened. If you're not coming out to train your doggos with enthusiasm, if you're not excited,
right there.
I don't know why you're doing it.
There.
But at the same time, that childlike excitement gets me into trouble. We're playing the ball. He's coming at me with it. I swipe it out of his mouth. Oh, gotcha. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to do that again. So he comes, grabs the ball. He comes at me again. And I swipe it. And he's like, no. He clomps down on the ball. And unfortunately, he clomped down on my finger.
What?
It's close to obsession.
Yeah. Well, Malinois, dude.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is, so my point is this guy's got a massive following. And I feel like we have some level of responsibility of making sure that, I think one of the biggest things right now are all these mouths all over the internet. I mean, I hope it doesn't lead to like a rush of everybody getting them. right? But
There's a movie about them too.
is there?
It's called
It's
Max.
crazy. Like, and the intensity of these dogs is just nuts. Like all these, and what's the sound of silence, right? You know, that video, that song basically means Malinois now. And jumping off the back of boats and all that stuff. And I saw one cool video of some dude that had really, he had trained his Mal to go get the keys to the car and say, hey man, didn't you say you need something from the store? And the dog went and picked up an empty treat container and brought it back to him. And if you watch the video, the dog has none of the intensity, but all of the focus that you would expect from a Mal. And the difference between these guys that are doing all eyes, ears, right? And that's what it is that all these guys that are intense in making these dogs so nuts, it's all eyes, ears. And so you're doing lots of talking, lots of hand gesturing to them. So they stay alert, they stay fixated, they stay on, and they don't soften that. So it makes it seem like all these Belgians are like that. Now I know they're a driven dog, but they don't have to act that way, right?
Yeah.
They do not have to be that level of drive for them to be good dogs. In fact, the higher that drive goes, the harder they are to deal with, the less good that they are.
I remember it was years ago. I remember there was like might have been that German paper that I had sent you. No, it wasn't that one. It was the one where they talked about how, there's big talk about cortisol and being stressed, and like how when they tested like these Malinois, or I think it was German Shepherds that they tested, when they were like working, like doing whether it's search and rescue or these Schutzen or bite work, like there's a spike of cortisol during these things. You know what I mean? And so like everyone's always so focused on avoiding having cortisol, but yet when they're doing something that they're obsessed about, there's actually cortisol that's involved in all that. Wish I could find. I read this years ago, by the way. I actually wish I could find that. I'm quoting something just off the top of my head, but
no, but I know what you're saying. It makes sense to me, because that intensity is not a positive intensity. It is a managed intensity. That is the definition of slippery slope, right? I mean, so you open up that energy. Now they know they have it, and they start to use it, and they start to direct it in different areas. When I was in France last year, I went to a shelter, and of all the posts, if I was asked what post am I the most proud of, it's probably this one. I'm in a shelter in France. I'm hungover, and when we walk in, the dude started fucking with me, right? So we walk in. I'm with a student, and she had brought me to France, and so we go to this shelter. She had called this shelter, and we were going to go and work with some dogs. And I told her, I go, look, I don't want this person in this shelter to pull me in to the kennels of the worst dogs. I don't want to go work with the dogs that want to attack the humans. Like, you know what I mean? You walk into certain shelters and there's 3 or 4 dogs there that are just ready to go. Where did they take me?
the worst ones.
Straight there, right there to all those dogs. And I'm like, dude, come on. So they take me to this Belgian, and this dude has been in a kennel for 2 or 3 years. And I go in to try to leash him up to take him out, and I can't. And the dude loses his shit. And he wasn't aggressive, but he wasn't not aggressive. He was at that line where he was using his mouth, and when he saw the leash, he got super amped, like crazy amped, and it started grabbing anything he could grab. Now, you know, of all the dogs that have wrecked me, a Belgian is the one that wrecked me, right? So the worst situation I've ever had with a dog was a Belgian. So I go into this kennel, and I have to escape. Like, I have to, not just like, oh, this isn't working and get out. The dude bit through like 2 leashes like that. And then I had to I'm trying to throw something to get him to go at that something so I can make it back out and regroup. And I just get fucking wrecked. And I go out and I handle a few other dogs, and I'm like, no, fuck that. And I come back in and I bring in a toy. I'm like, I'm gonna lure him into a toy. And he goes for the toy. And when I had the leash set up in a position, the leash was already ready. So if he grabbed the toy, it went on him this way. And I was able to do it and leash him and get him out. I mean, it's a pretty cool video, but inside, it's one of the most meaningful ones to me, because I I had to escape. And I mean, you get these flashbacks and stuff, and here you are. I'm expecting all these bites to happen. I went back in and made it happen. Those dogs are intense, but they don't have to. I mean, that's not their DNA.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that.
I remember when we would go to Monica's place out there in Florida, they always had the border protection dogs out there, and like the handlers always want them to be like that because I think they're scared that they won't want to work anymore.
Yeah.
I remember CJ was talking about how he was talking to them about how they can actually have a longer work, like they could work longer, not like throughout the day, but lifespan.
Right.
Like they don't have to retire them so soon if they just allow them to go and rest, because you see them in the kennels, they're bouncing off the walls
all the time. Some of those dogs in there are beyond nuts. I mean, beyond nuts.
Yeah.
And they're moving to what they're calling floppy-eared dogs now. Beagles, golden retrievers, labs, and so forth, because those particular working dogs don't need protection style stuff.
Right.
Most of them are just scent work.
Yeah.
And
money and fruits and
exactly.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense. And also probably there's probably less room for error at the airport if, someone tries to come touch a Malinois,
Well, I'm there. I'm depending on the season, I'm there a couple times a month, so I see quite a bit. And the handlers there can be really unequipped. A lot of those handlers there are not really capable of dealing with those dogs. It's probably just on the fence for a lot of those people, a lot of those dogs. Yeah. What else we got?
All right. Okay, let's do the one that you sent me with the bulldog.
That was a good one. Because it kind of fits the physical part.
Yeah. Okay, so let me go ahead and rewind it. Go live.
By the way, this bulldog is cool as shit.
He looks cool.
If that woman at that moment would have said, "Hey, I don't want this dog," I would have said,
"Really? You would own a bulldog?"
Yep. That one. He's happy-go-lucky, dude. This guy was just pure, goofy, happy-go-lucky dog. And he's one of those dogs that my temperament was perfect. I didn't have to switch anything. Who I am was built for that dog. And that dog was built for my temperament. The owner spent the entire appointment in tears.
Because she was happy?
No. Well, yes and no. Super insecure. As soon as she gets out of the car, they drove up from Fort Lauderdale. As soon as she gets out of the car, and a neighbor walked by with a dog, and she's like, "Oh my God." And I grabbed the dog and I just walked right up to the neighbor. And I go, "Happy-go-lucky confused." I go, "This is happy-go-lucky confused." I go, "He doesn't know what to do with his excitement. He's clueless." And so with her, that happy-go-lucky became lunge and everything. And cars, bikes, dogs, people. And he had none of that in it with me. This is a cool dog.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever own a Malinois or a bulldog.
I'll pass on the Mal. I'll take a bulldog.
Or even a French bulldog. Nope. No, thank you. All right, here we go.
Frenchie, dude. You can keep them.
No, I don't want them.
Yeah.
Does this with you? You said he did, right? So he takes his paws and he does that, right? So look what I'm doing. You see? So now he knows that I know how to use my body too.
Oh.
You see it?
Yes.
So this isn't just a one-sided physical game. He understands that I know how this is played. You see, I'm look. You see what I mean? So I'm not taking his energy into where it gets kind of, now watch. Now the touch changes. And we go to calm.
I love about this video, Todd, is I love how, and one of the things that I look at is I tell people, I apply pressure, like if I'm standing with the dog and the dog applies pressure and then we yield to that pressure. I tell the owners all the time, I'm like, dogs understand it because they're doing it to you. Right? So just do it to them. And that's exactly what you did here is like the way this dog plays, you just kind of mimicked him and says, "Oh, I know how to do this too. But I'm also not gonna let you jump at me." So you're doing the same exact play, but with a boundary, right? So you're taking care of, you're doing, bringing out the happy-go-lucky, but with boundaries.
Correct.
And then you say, okay, now let's turn it down. So I love this video because you can see all those things happen at once. And I think that's really important, especially for the listeners out there, is that when you, like, if you're working with a dog or you have a dog, just do what they do because they understand it because they're doing it to you. You know what I mean? And so that's a really good, it's a really good example of that.
Playful, and the owner wanted to be in control. And so the conflict was created. So instead of him being able to be playful, he was always wrong. You know, they always made him wrong. And I think that became the negative energy that created the reaction and created the lunging and created the issues. Because he basically took her nervous, controlling style energy and he threw it out. Now, as soon as it was somebody like me, he didn't, because like you said, and I have a bunch of little video clips like that where if you go back and show it, and I think this is part of like what Len used to say, you know, learn to play with your dog, learn to manipulate your dogs during play, is most people push. I don't think any of us do that. I don't think push is in our DNA in any capacity. We block or deflect or move. And it's very like wax on, wax off. It's like dog food. You know, it's a very, and I don't think, and this is what sucks, is like right now, if you were to go into a veterinary behavior class, like a veterinary behavior program, they would probably say what happened in that video was wrong. They would probably talk about the touch as a negative. And I think that's why people are getting more and more in a hole with their dog, is because they're confused on what touch means. Like they think touch is you're disciplining the dog or something. It's like, no, dogs are physical, super physical. They use their bodies in all kinds of conversations. So you, like you just said, we need to learn how to use ours. Learn how the whole body interaction works so that the dog, like you said, and like I said, knows that we know. Because the second that they know or they don't think you'll use your body, then they'll just, and they're using theirs already, because this dog was humping her. So it was grabbing her and pulling down. That was what it was referencing. Right?
Yeah.
And even when I don't do anything, the dog never dominates me. The dog never shows dominance. None. There's no dominant energy in that dog directed towards me. It's purely playful. So you can watch that in as slow motion as you want. You're never going to see anything. The energy of that dog never shifts into trying to control me, because I never try to control him. And all he wants to do is have like a good time, and then he'll settle with me, and then he wants to have a good time, and then he'll settle with me. He's a cool dog. Really.
Yeah. By the way, you brought something up that which I'm going to play here. It's from Andrew Huberman. It's from his podcast. It's the latest one that came out. It's with the author of what was his name, but he wrote a book called The Psychology of Money. And so listen to this. This is really cool.
Say, why are you acting like this? Why don't you do the right thing? It's so obvious. And he says, there's a phrase in social work: all behavior makes sense with enough information.
All behavior makes sense with enough information.
What does he mean?
So he's talking about because he's talking about money.
Okay.
This applies to everything, by the way. You know, he's talking about money, but I was listening to this, I was like, man, it's the same thing like with dogs. But he's saying that the reason why, you know, we get mad, let's say our kids, or we get mad at like, why are they acting like this? Or why do I continue to spend my money like this? Right. It's because we don't have enough information on how to do the right thing. Right. And so he's saying that let me play it again. Hang on. I'm going to play the whole thing. Actually, I actually cut it off.
Say, why are you acting like this? Why don't you do the right thing? It's so obvious. And he says, there's a phrase in social work: all behavior makes sense with enough information. That if you look at what those kids are dealing with in life, it would all make sense to you, why they are misbehaving at school. And I think that's a powerful idea for a lot of things in life, that all behavior makes sense with enough information.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, you know, when you look at this bulldog, she saw it as the dog, he's trying to dominate me. Right. And so once you have enough information, then you kind of apply the information they're giving you, and then you kind of just mimic it. Then there's an agreement there, you know? And I loved also how you held it, because I didn't know that the dog was holding on. Kind of assumed that because of how you were holding it. Because I was asking, well, why did you hold it? Well, you kind of answered that question already, because of, he said it was pulling them down. Let's do the same thing with them.
Yep.
All right, I think there was one more video that we have. Which is the other one that we were going to watch? Or did we watch all of them?
Oh no, it was the mother dog.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this was a interesting video, man. That's not it.
That's not it.
Was mom showing aggression or was mom trying to communicate?
My opinion. This is just my opinion. Obviously, you know, I understand like creating a boundary, but that was a little much.
You want to go deeper into that?
I mean, it was a little much. You know, the crying aside, it was because usually what will happen is they just move them out. This moved them out and kept going.
I've watched this video a bunch of times. I started to post it and I didn't. So I've got a bunch of different angles on it. There's something that too, I don't know if you caught in the mother. So there's all kinds of things going on in the video. I agree. I think the second bite was frustration, but there's a lot of things here that I have questions about. So here's where I would break it down. Is that normal for the mom? Right. So I would want to see the mother with the litter in general to know if she's just an aggressive dog. I would want to know how often or how many times that the pup that she did that to has done what it did. Like, we don't know if that's the first time or if that's the fifth time, at which point the mother is putting an exclamation point on that correction. Right. So if let's say that that puppy has been like escalating its challenge to mom over the previous days or interactions over food, it would make sense that it got such an intense reaction from mom. Now, there's a couple of things. Although that puppy is making a lot of sound, which means maybe it did get hurt, it doesn't walk away with its tail down. Its tail's curled up over its back when it walks away. So it doesn't walk away mentally scarred. It walks away probably ready for another one. So the questions I have are more big picture questions. Like, if you just watch that, absolutely. Mother should have followed through a little bit more. It was way too intense. There was an actual bite. And then and then the second one was like and you better figure this out. If you also watch it, because I have a clip in slow-mo, when the other puppy comes in, when this puppy comes in,
you see him stop.
Tongue flicks it.
It stops.
And it's because if you see it in slow-mo, the mother goes like this. And the puppy goes, "Ooh."
No, never mind.
And turns around and moves away. So that's what I saw. And then there's one more thing. I want you to watch again and see, look at the mother's body and tell me if you caught this.
Was mom showing aggression or was mom trying to communicate?
Her leg.
She doesn't have a paw. Her right paw is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like some type of, this is not our country. That looks like that's probably somewhere else. So let's say that the mother had a shitball life. That takes me back to, is this behavior that she's carried from, past and makes her that way?
A lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions, but that if you watch it in slow-mo, so it looks like this in slow-mo. The puppy and the mother actually share identical postures and body language. The puppy's not quite as confident. You see a little more ears sideways, but you actually see the puppy go like this, with the mother doing the same thing back, and then the puppy goes. The puppy triggers the mother. The puppy actually, they're dead solid like this, and then the puppy goes. And I did a video with that dog that we used, the German Shepherd that bit the guy in the face, and that's what you're seeing, is that the mother was warning, and so the puppy goes, and the puppy leans forward to bark, and the mom,
as soon as it is
just fucking shreds it right there.
Yeah,
right there.
I saw that. But yeah, I mean, but there was like almost like a standoff, and then as soon as that puppy did that, boom, went right into
a bunch of questions about possession. People just don't understand the whole spatial concept of possession and all the, like, by the time you have possession, you're already fucked. And so unless you're ready to, like I did a monkey video today, unless you're ready to deal with it physically and really remove the dog from the situation, the dog knows you will not move them. Right. And so when you get those mothers like that, if that mother gives way to that dog, what happens? So if the mother doesn't correct that puppy, what happens?
Then it starts to move forward towards like other dogs.
So that's a puppy that's going to go start its own. That puppy's ready. That puppy's ready to move on and have its own path. That's a front, or at least that's the beginning of a dog that's playing the front. When you're challenging your mom like that, there's no way you're like the back of the pack. You know? Yeah. It's a video. It's a little much, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like to, because I got the video from the person you sent me, who posted this video, and I feel like, and I noticed, I don't know what it's about social media. It kind of just goes to show you like what people are into. They're into the dramatic, intense, like the news, right? Like social media is like people who post these videos and share all these videos and they do their analysis and things like that. They're really just trying to get some attention, personally.
Yeah, I'm aware of that one. I'm aware of the getting attention on your social media thing. Yeah, it's interesting to see what people want because you know what's, and me and Steve talked about this a long time ago. People don't want a good tip. That's not what people want. What's interesting is people want two things. What you said, they want this weird dramatic thing, or they want to be right. So if you post something that happens to everybody's dog, it can go viral. Mm-hmm. And it's because what people want to know is that they can relate to it, right? Oh my God! Oh yeah, I can relate. I did one on the tails. Did you see the one I did with the dog on the one wheel with the tail?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my most viral video, and that's something everybody can relate to. Not the one wheel, but the encountering dogs with twitchy tails.
And by the way, when these dogs that can do like these special skills, a lot of them are not really good with dogs. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, like a trick dog or like this Hollywood, like they can do all these things. They're usually not good with other dogs because they're going to do one thing, and that's like those tricks and things like that.
You know what was interesting is somebody that's got a TV show, some trainer that had a TV show that's bald, some dude that's bald that has a TV show that he's like a C-level dog whisperer guy. He goes on there and comments like, what the fuck? You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about or something. I'm like, what? And you're a dog trainer? You fucking moron. Didn't your show get canceled?
I don't know who that is.
Some guy. I don't know his name.
Oh, yes. I knew what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he lives out in Austin now, I think.
Yeah, that guy bashed me. I deleted it, but I was laughing. I'm like, dude, didn't your show get canceled? You fucking poop.
I heard he's a nice guy. I know Colleen, he moved out to Texas from California. He moved out to Texas, I think. We're thinking about the same guy. I know Colleen has talked to him, and I know people say he's a nice guy, but whatever. People just want to talk shit about.
Dude, you go onto somebody's website or somebody's page that's got some followers and you're doing certain shit, you're looking for people to come to you in a lot of that. A lot of the people come in and they'll start answering questions and stuff. Dude, you're just trying to pull in followers. I get it.
Yeah, I remember his show got canceled. I remember actually on the IACP, people were trying to get his show removed.
Yeah, because he was a clown in the show. I watched an episode and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's,
I think
there would be some universal acceptance that some things in dog behavior are what they are. I think that video was pretty accurate. Talking about the twitching and the wagging and the difference and all that stuff. I mean, how could you, if you worked with dogs, how could you see that and have an issue with that? To me, that one wasn't really up in the air for that type of response.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and I have to jump on a call.
Yeah. Real quick, I wanted to bring this up just we can talk about it in the next episode, but we had Steve had interviewed the dude that the dominance theory guy, right?
David Misch. David Misch.
Is that what his name is?
Yeah, Dr. David Misch.
He, explained what his take was. And what he basically said was wolves are family animals. I've been watching some stuff on wolves that they're born in. And so the extended family, it's basically just this big extended family. Everybody chips in and helps. So there's really not dominance challenges against each other because they're the family. But when they did this study based on bringing in wolves from different packs, right? So they brought in scattered wolves into a group and they fought for dominance and they fought for hierarchy and they fought for those things, correct? Is that,
yeah.
I remember, Gary? And so the people that want to say, oh, see, he proved this dominance theory isn't right. Well, my question is, don't most of us bring in fragmented packs? So, right? So that means if fragmented wolves brought in together fight for dominance and fight for hierarchy, then the way that we bring in dogs from rescues and all these different sporadic places, that means they should do that too, right?
Yeah.
So in essence, what he proved is that in wolves, maybe it doesn't work, but it actually proved true in dogs.
Yeah. We can break down that whole episode, by the way. What I'll do is, I mean, I could play the YouTube videos on here and we could just go line by line, you know?
Let's
and
do it.
Listen to it. We can make a whole episode on that.
I don't know why I thought of that, but I was like, why is everybody acting like what he said denounces this whole concept when in fact what it really does is puts a period on it. Like, yes, if you're bringing in dogs from different places, that means that they will innately challenge to figure out how we're going to organize this group that we're bringing together, as opposed to it having that familial kind of feel where everybody just knows, okay, you're the older one, I'm the younger one, and we work through it this way. Anyways.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. And if you guys aren't following, please go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube or on Spotify. And I don't know anything else. Talk to you later.
Yeah.